What is a fleet manager? Lights?
A caveman trying to make fire. A stable boy tending to horses. A technician fixing something. What do all these things have in common? They all use tools and strategies to solve problems. Now, stick with me. Today, our modes of transportation have become more complex than in the past. We've adapted new modern jobs to keep up with the industrial industry and distribution that we've created. The fleet manager, Today, they're in charge of maintaining more complicated machines. Trucks, tractors, planes, trains, and that lawnmower that your neighbor has borrowed and never returned. Modern man requires modern solutions, or at least that sounds right. So I'm not, nor have I ever been a fleet manager myself, but I have had the opportunity to work for a company in fleet management, Fleetio. And over the last 6 years, I've been able to go on site and interview different fleet managers and their teams to see how they manage their fleets. So we've compiled all the interviews and talks and try to come up with some structured elements, things that fleet managers actually prioritize for themselves today, put it in our videos and our content to hopefully help new fleet managers or people that are just trying to tweak their processes, incorporate better practices. So last week, I've had the opportunity to go on site with one of our customers, Dennis. He's a fleet manager and doing this job for a long time. Here's just a snippet of what he says his day-to-day is like.
What does a day in the life of Dennis look like?
Depends on how many fires you got to put out, but basically typical day is come in early, look at the DVIRs. If we have anything new, enter work orders into Fleetio, give those to sit in them so they're aware of the issues. After that, I sit in on their toolbox talk, safety talk. If I have anything to add, I'll add to that. So once I'm done there, I'll run over to my EHS specialist, just check in with him, go back to the office and start looking at hours in Fleetio, make sure all their hours are justified. Look at my PM schedule, make sure it matches what Sit-in-M has on their schedule. Deal with fires, answer emails. Occasionally, we'll go into purchasing equipment and then help out the project managers if they need any equipment or anything for the job sites. And then check in operations. And then I look at DOT compliance, look at all the ELD logs, and then whatever else may pop up during the day.
Yeah, there's a lot. But to summarize a fleet manager's job description, it involves overseeing every aspect of the company's vehicles from the moment they are purchased until they're eventually sold or retired. We've come up with this outline of what a typical day consists from a fleet manager. Renewing vehicle statuses, reports, and alerts, addressing overnight breakdowns or issues, coordinating with drivers on routes, changes, or special requirements, and checking preventative maintenance schedules. Their afternoons may consist of something like meetings of procurement to discuss vehicle replacement cycles, analyzing fuel consumption data to identify opportunities for efficiencies, handling driver training or safety protocol updates, negotiating with vendors and service providers. Their evening may consist of a final check of vehicles' returns and statuses, planning for tomorrow's operations, reviewing fleet performance metrics, putting out any fires that might remain in their day, hopefully not literal ones. And all that's just the routine stuff. Fleet managers also deal with accidents, compliance issues, budget surpluses, missing equipment, and occasionally the driver who swears that bumper was already dented before he took it out. So running a successful fleet manager program requires a unique mix of skills and tools. It's not just knowing vehicles, although that clearly helps. It doesn't hurt to have some essential skills past the basic vehicle knowledge. Here's a list that we've compiled for essential skills that you could need past the basic vehicle knowledge to be successful. Number 1, technical knowledge of understanding vehicle specifications, maintenance requirements, and diagnosing potential issues all help fleet managers make informed decisions. You don't need to be a technician, but identifying the difference between normal wear and tear and the excessive problem waiting to happen is key. Nos, analytical thinking. The modern fleet manager is data-driven. The ability to analyze utilization, fuel efficiency, maintenance costs, and driver behavior patterns separate a good fleet manager from a great one. You're taking everything into account and then making the best moves going forward based on the data that you've seen in your sphere of influence. Number 3, knowing financial insights. That was really smooth. calculating the total cost of ownership to create an accurate budget, because fleet managers need to speak at least a little bit of the language of finance to back up their actions and motives that they're asking for. You can't say, I need this much money, because trust me, that's not how the world works. That's not really how anything works. A business's ask needs to come from something like, hey, we're spending A in the cost and time. If we continue, we'll stay the same or probably increase. We could make this number better over here with B if we make X adjustments. Then here's the data to back it up. Whoop. What happens after that is anyone's guess, but we have seen that has made a stronger argument putting the data in front of decision makers of why these costs are the way they are. The replacement schedule isn't just about vehicle performance, it's about responsibility and optimizing the capacity you're given to run that part of the business. And last, people management. You have vehicles, okay, you need people to drive them. And we're going to need good drivers for a long period of time. Look, autonomous fleets aren't coming as fast as people are preaching about. Managing your relationships between drivers, maintenance staff, vendors, and executives require attuned communication skills across the board. Know how to deal with people, simple as that. Now, beyond developing yourself, you're going to have to learn how to use some essential tools on the job, like fleet management software. The days of managing fleets with clipboards and spreadsheets are coming to a close. Now, there's a ton of great platforms out there that are designed to centralize everything from maintenance schedules to driver assignments, fuel card usage, you got it. Being at Fleetio, we are a little biased, but some of the best advice that I've heard is make a list of everything that you wish you had in a fleet management software that can make your life and your team's life a lot easier.
You know, most mechanics don't want to go through a lot of issues getting to one issue. You know, they want to fix it right, and then they want to move forward.
Then go try things out, see what works and what doesn't. And then when you find a solution that does work for you and everyone else, get someone to champion that software out so everyone jumps on board. But that's a different video entirely on rollout. Now there's also telematics solutions or GPS tracking, driver behavior monitoring, and automated reporting that provides real-time visibility into fleet operations and identifies improvement opportunities. Fleet managers also have to know preventative maintenance programs. Strategic maintenance scheduling prevents costly breakdowns and extends vehicle lifespan. We get it, take care of your stuff. But there's more to it than just oil changes and tire rotations. And if you want to get the most out of your assets, you got to keep up with your maintenance, not play catch up, by sticking to strict maintenance programs. Now, the last topic I'll touch on is common challenges and solutions. Even the best fleet managers face difficulties. We've recently run a survey to around 300 fleet managers, and these were the things they said they were most concerned about. Challenge 1, rising cost and fuel prices.
The biggest subject on everybody's list right now is fuel costs, right? What are you going to do about fuel costs? How can we minimize our fuel costs as it continues to go higher and higher?
Maintaining expenses and vehicle acquisition, all those costs seem to move in one direction. The solution we've seen? Implement rigorous data analysis to identify inefficiencies and experiments with route optimization, right-sizing vehicles. Small improvements across a fleet can add up. Don't let little problems turn into big ones in the long term. Challenge number 2 we've seen is driver shortages and retention.
We're just trying to figure out, it's a big challenge for us as far as our trucks require CDL drivers. And it's tough to find folks that have CDLs, so how do we move trucks?
Finding and keeping quality drivers around, especially the good ones, has been hard for almost everyone. The thing we hear about a lot is companies talk about creating positive cultures with competitive benefits, recognition programs, and career development opportunities. But the last big one I will say is people are more likely to stay around if you invest in them. Driver satisfaction directly impacts retention and safety. You want to get your numbers up, give them a reason to stay around. Third challenge is technological overload. With so many new technologies available, it's hard to know which one delivers real value. The solution? Start with a clear objective and pilot programs before a full implementation.
We noticed that we weren't getting the users to access Fleetio like they should. In other words, they just weren't comfortable, I guess, getting in there and looking for their maintenance card, looking where fuel was purchased, all the data that's available in Fleetio, which is a wealth of information. People weren't accessing the system like they needed to. So I came up with it once a week. We have a standing meeting, and it's called Friends of Fleetio, and we do a half an hour, and we have usually a subject that we focus on.
Focus on one solution that addresses your specific pain points rather than chasing every shiny new option that comes down the road. And the last challenge on this list is balancing your maintenance needs. Too little maintenance leads to breakdowns. Too much creates unnecessary downtime and expenses. Finding that sweet spot is using preventative analytics and using the manufacturer data to develop optimal maintenance intervals, monitor results, and adjust accordingly. That's it. That's all I got. My goal is to give you a better picture of this space that really isn't in the limelight. It's not glamorous, but it is a necessary part of our day-to-day operations in the modern world. I hope that you found some value in this, and occasionally we put out educational content like these videos. But all of our content is fleet focused and around analytics, so check out our other channels if you want more content, and hopefully we can do more videos like this from time to time. All the best.